And I don't know why somebody would be so malicious and hateful. I don't know why. I don't know why. I feel like when you are harassing a person who just got out of the hospital for a mental health crisis, you're trying to get them to harm themselves. And I don't know what I could have possibly done to warrant the death penalty. Like, I just don't know. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not a spy. I haven't committed treason. I don't know what necessitates the death penalty. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
So I don't know. All I can think to do is just to let people know what's going on and then unplug everything. That's all I can think to do.
Right.
When does harassment become assault or attempted murder? Proof and witnesses of years of harassment. Trigger warning.
I'm going to take you through some of the things I've been experiencing, and my preference is to keep these private. I've kept this situation private for a couple of years, but I can't do that anymore because it's gotten to the point of it being kind of a life or death situation. So I'm going to have to share things I don't want to share, not just for my privacy, but for the privacy of my loved ones. But it's in a hope of being able to get my life back. And I just hope that when you watch this, it increases your empathy for people who are the victims of harassment. And I hope that it dissuades those people who are interested in ruining others' lives to stop what they're doing and to get help themselves, because their bullying is dangerous. What I'm doing is putting together a little video of some of the documentation of proof of this ongoing crime that I've been a victim of. So I've been hacked over and over and over and over again. And yeah. And that harassment, the online harassment, has escalated over the last 2 years to the point that recently it's happened multiple times with multiple witnesses in the room and with the screen being recorded. For example, on Monday, it happened while I was in a telehealth appointment with my therapist. So, for example, um, so
What
let me tell you
happens
how
when
this.
you're hacked? Do they access your camera?
I don't know. I do know they delete my text messages, my emails, my photos, my calendar invites. I don't know if they're sending things as well. Like, maybe people are getting messages from me that really aren't from me. I don't know. But they seemingly have access to all of the apps on my phone.
Who is the harasser?
The first thing you have when we were coming up with the theory is, um, we have to factor in, like, I'm not famous, I'm not rich, I'm not influential, I'm not powerful, I'm not a serial killer, like, I haven't murdered anyone. So all the things that might make someone a target, like being a billionaire or being a politician or being a murderer, none of those things apply. So I'm just a random person.
Who is the harasser? The professional grudge theory.
Yeah. So
What else you would expect?
the other theories that have been going around is, when I came to work at a former employer, they were in a pretty desperate financial situation, and I had to lay off a bunch of people. And the really terrible thing about layoffs is that a lot of people lose their job, even though maybe only one person was so bad at their job that everybody else couldn't get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a bunch of people are punished for something they did not do. And no matter how hard they worked, and no matter how high the quality of their work was, for reasons that they lose their, and it's horrible. It's horrible. And as heartbreaking it was for me, it is a zillion times worse for them because they're the ones who lose their income and their health insurance. And in the case of that organization, we were always as generous as possible with severance. Instead of looking at severance as what's the minimum we could do, it was like, what's the maximum we can justify? Because we wanted to ensure that people weren't punished, like, could make it to the next job without being punished. Because these are
Yeah.
people for whom don't have six-figure incomes where there's a bunch of like padding for them to float, you know? And like
Yeah.
I said, and with the layoffs, they didn't do anything wrong. So, theoretically, those people have a reason to hate me. And I definitely know that some of them blamed me for that situation. But that was 8 years ago. So
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
weird that this harassment would speed up so much in the last 2 years.
yeah,
something
no,
that
it's
haven't-
not.
And
It's not something.
Who is the harasser? The law enforcement theory.
is that it's someone from with a relationship with law enforcement that is trying to, and I haven't gotten to all the reasons why this is, but
Yeah.
that it's trying to create a fake documentation, either to lie to other members of law enforcement, to a prosecutor, to an attorney, to a judge. And the reason for that is a bunch of things that might be seen as that might let me think of how
Are
to
they
put it.
trying
Like
to? Are
things
they
that
trying to are they trying to document or trying to build a case against you for like your mental health based on
maybe
things
I don't
you're?
know, but because they deleted a bunch of things before backing it up to the cloud is the reason that people are that theory came out. Like, why would they need to delete a bunch of things to then back it up unless they were planning on sharing
Wait, what
that
do you mean
backup
back
with
it up?
someone? So in your phone, you can back up the data from your phone to the cloud, and you can even overwrite
Yeah.
previous versions. So they
Yeah.
went through my phone and deleted thousands of messages, and then they backed it up to the cloud.
Well, it backs up automatically.
Yeah, but you can set up.
But they did it manually.
After deleting a bunch of things.
Yeah. So you weren't able to restore from previous backups.
Exactly.
So they
Bingo.
overwrote. Yeah. Up because they didn't want because they deleted those messages, and when you do another backup, it deletes the previous backup. So
Yeah.
they were just saving their work, their like deletions, so you wouldn't be able to get those messages back.
So there's a bunch of examples of this.
Were they specific messages or are they like random messages? Were they
some of them
all
were
your messages?
Good question. Well, it's so messed up. So some of them were there were in certain conversations there were just some messages, and then for other people it was the entire history. Like, one of the things that's really upsetting is nearly my entire life history of text messages with my mother, except for starting in December, they just erased all of them. Just erased them. And that
Oh, your
included
mom
a lot
has
of
them.
it. Yeah, well, unless they did that to her, I don't know.
No, they probably did, but yeah. So they targeted your mom's messages.
Yeah, for example, this is just an example. I don't know, because as this has escalated this week, I haven't been using my phone for obvious reasons. So I don't know. But one of the things I noticed before, and this is where it gets back to, so wait, before I go on to, let me just finish with the theories.
Who is the harasser? The it's personal theory.
That this might be somebody, either a person with a personal grudge against me or a person with a relationship with that person. That theory is popular is that the first time that this has been documented with multiple witnesses and evidence was May 22nd, 2021.
So it's been going on since 2021.
But it's gotten really nasty the last 2 years, and really, really nasty the last 3-ish months. So the question is, why? Like, why? And because I don't have money, power, influence, and I'm not a murderer. Why invest so much time in ruining my life?
It's
not like ruining my life is only going to ruin my life and the life of my family. So whoever this person is, they hate me so much they're willing to make.
It's not
my
hate.
parents,
it's more just like they're just like fucking with you. They're just trying to like.
But making it impossible to do
miserable.
It's worked. It works.
Yeah.
But why? Why? But why? Why do it? Why?
I mean, my theory.
You think it's jealousy, but I don't have anything besides Eden.
You have another child.
Yeah, she's
Who
perfect
doesn't?
too. I'm,
Yeah.
I don't apologize. I don't apologize. Constance was wonderful. So was Eden.
Yeah.
I love you, Mom.
But let me just say this about that. I don't think that you can ever get over the sudden death of your only child. I hurt every
No,
day for
nobody
the
does.
loss of
Nobody
Constance.
can.
And
Yeah.
and I've had people say to me, "It's been years. Get over it." And it's like,
What?
well,
That's
she's
your child.
I know. And my answer to that is, yeah,
That's
it's been
not
years, and she's
natural
still.
to watch. Yeah, to lose a child is not. That's not natural. No one should. You don't get over that.
It's like she's still dead. She's still dead. That's why I'm still mad about it. Like she's still dead. I'll be mad about it in another decade. She's still dead. Like she's still missing.
Yeah.
She's still not in my life.
Mhm.
And to be perfectly frank, Eden gets to miss having her as a half sister. You know, everybody's
Yeah.
missing out. It's not just me. Like it was her death was extremely traumatizing for many, many, many people.
Yeah.
So yeah, many family members were traumatized.
Yeah.
Back. Good. All right.
So my thought, oh God, it's just even talking about it makes me mad. So, my thought process is I am going to just put together a couple of examples that involve a couple people, make it into a video, post it on my YouTube, and then share the videos where someone is tape recording it happening live while multiple people are in the room with a bunch of people. So if something happens to me or to my family members, a bunch of people have that available and can post it wherever they want.
The timeline of documented and witnessed harassment began May 22nd, 2021.
I just want to verify the details of the, let me look, May 22nd, 2021 hacking incident, because it's the first time that I can recall being hacked where there were multiple witnesses and I knew to take documentation because I'd experienced it before, but it wasn't in a situation like that where there was multiple witnesses around. So, that day, to my recollection, and I'll just bring up some pictures if that's okay. Sorry about that. So there you guys are at the hike. And you remember where this is?
Yes, that was at that restaurant where you guys got married.
Bingo bango. And it looks like we are being photobombed by either another guest or an employee who's really going for the tip. And there we are. And there's the birthday boy. I don't know what that was about. Oh, right. So this is so then what happened that evening? So let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so that evening, Sid and I were you had gone back to Indy, and Sid and I were on our sofa in Vernon Hills, and my phone turned on and things were happening on it. And it was at the foot of the sofa. So of course I jumped up to see what was going on, and someone was going into my text messages and looking through things, and it sent you a message. And they had said something like that they wanted to see a photo or what someone looked like or something. And the last text that I had sent that day on my phone was like pictures to you and Sid of celebrating Sid's birthday. And because I didn't have control of the messages that were going through to you, Sid, I was trying to turn off my phone to keep it from happening, and Sid grabbed his phone and called you to tell you what was going on, so you wouldn't think that I was communicating with you, and reply by sending photos. Is that how you recall it? Is there anything
Yeah.
I'm forgetting?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I got the call as I was driving back from the Chicago area to Indianapolis. And I did find it very peculiar that you would ask for photos because, I mean, you'll ask for photos that I have taken already, but never like a photo of me randomly. Like that's not a thing you do.
No, why would I? That's
Yeah.
super. Also, like, I know what you look like.
Yeah, exactly.
so
Double decker.
yeah, so that was very weird. So then my phone, well, before we go on, Sid, is that how you remember it?
Yeah.
Up to that point? Okay. I had like taken my phone into a different area of the apartment while he was calling you, and because I didn't want the hackers, I didn't know if they could hear or see it. I didn't know what had access to because they'd already opened a couple of apps. So uh they then opened Telegram, and they sent and they opened a chat with a new number that wasn't in my contacts and that I did not know. And they sent this message, which I think they meant, can you see it?
Yeah.
It's like a dog going,
Yeah.
and then it's this some woman. So I don't know this person. I didn't know the phone number, and they sent that. I didn't respond. Obviously, it was upsetting. I don't know in any arenas, and I'm certain that's not the person's real name. And so I just turned off my phone. And the next day, when I called Apple support, they just did it like an update, which I always stay on top of the updates. But they gave me this whole speech about how their phones are extremely secure, and so it's very weird for it to be hacked. And I'm sure that that's true. But it still happened. Sid, is there any details I'm forgetting? I can't hear you when you shake your head.
No.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything I'm forgetting, Will?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. So I know this seems like a very small thing, but since it's the first time there were multiple witnesses and I knew to document it because it had happened before, I just wanted to go through it because the harassment and hacking has escalated so much over the last couple of years that for the last, I don't know, 2 months, it's really been pretty horrid. So yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that I had at least where the timeline started kind of documented. So thank you so much. And if you think of anything else, let me know.
Will do.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Documented and witnessed harassment escalated in 2023 to present.
Last 2 years, it's been almost impossible for me to do anything at work because as soon as I do something, it gets undone, which is just extremely frustrating and time consuming. And I don't have the kind of job where you have
Wait,
like a lot of free time.
Yeah, so you do your work on what, a laptop for?
Yeah, but well, like, let me just give you an example.
Okay.
So, like a big thing is like assigning people to projects. And so, because it's a small organization, I would put all of the data that I need to have about people's background into their contact. And then I could search key skills and stuff in my contact. So if I'm running around doing errands or going to a meeting or at the office, at home, wherever I am, I could just grab my phone and then look up those things and then text those people. But they would just, on a very regular basis for the last couple of years, and especially in 2023, those updates would just not stay. They would just be gone. And so if I put somebody in there, they would just then be deleted, even if I act like, and then I couldn't look them up. So new people for whom joined, I wouldn't have their information. People's phone numbers would get switched. So I would think I'm texting somebody because it would actually be going to somebody else. It's just horrifying. I don't know why somebody would want me to be terrible at my job. I don't know.
So there's, as you can see, pages and pages of text here that I have from Rochelle. And in some of these too, she's mentioned that, that she's been hacked and that anything that is coming to us and almost anyone from ESC, it almost got to the point where make sure that you don't trust it 100% because it may not be coming from Rochelle, which I think these are dating all the way back to 2021. So I've got a whole series of messages here that I've kept from her, and there are examples of this where people are saying, where Rochelle is saying, hey, things have been hacked, be careful of opening anything. I'm not going to share personal identifiable information. As a matter of fact, I've known Rochelle long enough that I know she wouldn't do that as a matter of course.
Now a clip from a video Rochelle posted on Labor Day weekend 2023.
I've been having iCloud issues for months that have gotten increasingly worse, so that there's one set of data on each of our things. And I spent about an hour on my 8th call with tech support yesterday, and it turns out it was a server issue for them, and they were able to resolve it. So now I'm in the process of downloading everything from everywhere.
This video clip from Labor Day 2023 ends with a cut to a screen that says, "Update. As of this upload, iCloud isn't working."
No,
So one of the so one of the things that had happened is I had been texting you and not getting a response recently, and I thought you were mad at me. And I texted your mom to ask her if you were mad at me. Not to ask her if you were mad at me, but to say,
yeah, I didn't get those texts.
yeah, that's my point. So I texted you, I hadn't gotten any responses for a while, and then I texted your mom and I was like, I assume, because it's been a couple of months with no response, like I texted her and said, like, I assume Jen is mad at me, which I totally understand. But if you
No, I
talk to
wasn't
her,
mad.
yeah, well, good.
On the screen is a text from Rochelle to Jen's mom, Gloria. It was sent Sunday, January 21st, 2024, and said, "Hi, Gloria. I hope you and your family had lovely holidays. Just as an FYI, I haven't heard from Jen." Then 3 lines are redacted, and it resumes. "On the off chance she brings it up to you in the future, please tell her how sorry I am. If she no longer wants to be my friend, I will respect her boundary. Best wishes for 2024. Cheers, Rochelle." On Monday, January 22nd, Gloria replied, "Hi, Rochelle. I don't believe Jennifer holds anything against you for reaching out." And then the screenshot cuts off.
This was recent, so this wasn't from before.
No, this was like, I have been texting over the last couple of months and hadn't heard from you, so I just assumed you were mad at me.
I texted you too.
Didn't get it.
Yeah, I wanted to do the spa day. Like we were planning the spa day.
Yeah, I remember. Anyway, so I scrolled up in my text exchange with you, and I'm going to describe this text in a way that doesn't identify the person involved, but hopefully you'll know what I'm talking about. So I scrolled up in our text history, and there was a text I sent you where I said to you, do you remember the time that you took the weapon from a home because it had been used in a way that was very scary to me and others, and and you kept it at your house safely till the situation de-escalated. And I just want to be clear, I wasn't the one who used that weapon. You weren't the one who used that weapon. You were the person trying to protect me. Right. Okay. I just want to make sure that's clear. So I sent you a text about that, and you responded and said something like, "Yeah, you remembered." And then I responded later and said, like, "I can't get this out of my mind. Like, I keep thinking about this incident." And when I went back to our chain, that specifically in the history had been deleted.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find your. Yeah, that's super weird.
On the screen is a screenshot of Jen's text with Rochelle. Jen took the screenshot on January 25th, 2024. Rochelle texts to Jen, "Do you remember back when Redacted shot my Redacted and you took his Redacted to your house for me? I was thinking about." Then on December 2nd at 11:53 p.m., Rochelle replied to that text with another text to Jen stating, "This keeps coming back to my mind." Crying face emoji. Hug emoji.
Yeah. Like, my point is, whoever's tormenting me hates me at a level that which I would hate someone who hurt Constance.
No, I think they hate you on a level because they think you moved on.
From Constance?
Moved on, yeah. And like,
you can't move on from having a dead kid. They're always dead.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, like, they may view you as having moved on and not. Yeah, I don't know what they expect. Like,
so to put the timeline in context, so a couple of years of escalating harassment crescendoed on December 3rd. So the text with Jen was December 2nd. Then December 3rd, I had a mental health crisis and was hospitalized. Now, obviously, you as my mom have known me my entire life. And as a nurse, you've seen people in many mental and physical states. Would you say that I seemed upset when you saw me, when you came to the house?
Yes.
Yeah. So my understanding is that Sid was worried. I'm trying to only use language that's not going to get me in trouble with YouTube. So I'm not going to be specific, but he had reason to be concerned about an immediate crisis. He reached out to you. You came, assessed the situation, and then took me to the emergency room. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Am I missing any key details?
Well, I think you were clearly upset the day before when I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
All day long. You were upset.
Mm-hmm.
So when he reached out to me, I felt like it had escalated from the day before,
Okay.
which of course, what he had texted me prompted me to come immediately. Because I felt you were in crisis also.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Obviously, the people at the emergency room thought that, as did the people at the hospital they transferred me to, because they had me there for a very long time. Yeah. Okay. So, do you feel comfortable saying what Sid texted you, or would you rather keep it private?
I felt comfortable saying that. You knew what he had texted me, but maybe you didn't.
But
He asked me today because he thought you were suicidal. And I said I'd be right there.
well, thank you for coming over and for caring and for being my mom and for taking me to the hospital and for just being amazing. I love you too. I love you.
My family's the most important thing to me. You're my family.
My family's the most important thing to me too. I love you.
You too.
On the screen is a letter from the hospital dated December 13, 2023. The letter reads, Dear Board of Directors, to whom it may concern. This letter is in reference to Rochelle Jervis. Rochelle was admitted to the hospital on December 3rd, 2023, and remains hospitalized at this time with an undetermined discharge date. This letter is being written on her behalf as due to her current medical status, she is unable to work at this time. Thank you. The letter is signed from a social worker at the hospital.
The moment I left the hospital, the harassment resumed and escalated even further. And my belief is that that person, having seen all these messages about my hospital stay on my phone, some of which they've deleted, some of which they kept, that they saw those and thought, I'll keep pushing because if I keep pushing, then she'll be gone, right? Because what other intent could someone have to aggressively increase harassment immediately upon someone's release from a hospital for a mental health crisis, except that they want to get rid of that person. They want that person dead. So I don't know what the legal definition of an attempted murder is. I'm not an attorney, but I do know that this person hated me so much they wanted me dead, and they didn't care how that would impact my daughter, my husband, my parents, my siblings, my friends, anyone. Can you explain what just happened?
Okay, so Rochelle is trying to sync her iCloud from the laptop to her phone, and here's what happens. Before she can click allow, it cancels out. Let's try it again.
No, it's not even giving the window.
Okay. Maybe it's got only a certain amount of time before time's out or locks.
Did you see it? Did you get it?
I did. Yep.
And then it's like, didn't get the thing. It's like, no, I didn't get the thing. Normally sends it by now. It's not sent it.
And this one was buzzing too. Your mom's phone. You want to turn that off as well?
I did.
Okay. Because I was like, wait.
Nothing. It's not even sending the code anymore. All right, we'll try one more time. Or the thing it sends before the code. Allow. Did you see how they made it disappear that fast?
Okay.
All right.
Try it again.
No. Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time and then I'm gonna stop trying.
Wow.
Somebody out there really dislikes me. This is just like Vernon Hills. So annoying. I'm just gonna go through the incidents that occurred January 21st, I believe it was. Is that correct? Is that correct, Sid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at noon on Monday, January 21st, I was in a telehealth appointment with my therapist, and I wanted to pull up a text exchange I'd had with a contractor of my former employee named Garfield. Now, there's nothing particularly interesting about the text exchange except for that I had explained in it why I couldn't respond to a message and deal with something late at night, and he was completely understanding, and it was fine. But because I was setting a boundary and I wasn't sure if the tone was as polite as I wanted it to be, I wanted to ask my therapist about it. So while we were in the call or the appointment, I pulled up in my phone to my text with Garfield, and all the text messages were missing besides when he said that morning, going back to November, to the beginning of November, which is very strange because we'd have many texts. And so I was a little agitated. I mentioned it to my physician, and then I went to the photos because I'd taken a screenshot of that conversation with Garfield, because I wanted to be able to like text it to Sid if it was an issue or something, and just to make sure that I wasn't rude, because I really didn't want to be rude. Anyway, so I went to the photos, and sure enough, there was the text, and I read it to her, and we talked about it, and happily she said I wasn't rude, and I don't think I was rude because certainly Garfield's response was very polite. But anyway.
Rochelle replied to Garfield stating, "With all due respect, it's 10:21 p.m. I'm not in front of my computer. I spent the last 8 years working." Then a paragraph is redacted, and the text resumes with Rochelle saying, "Please forgive me, but I'm not going to look it up now. I appreciate your understanding and all you are doing for Redacted, an organization that I used to love."
So after I got out of that appointment, I looked at my phone and noticed that a bunch more messages were missing. And that's not the first time I've experienced it, but it was extremely dramatic. For example, texts with my mom, my entire history of texts with my mother before December 3rd were missing, despite the fact that my settings have always said to keep my messages forever. And despite the fact that my mom and I have texted about extremely important and personal things like the death of Constance, my first daughter. And I would never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, ever delete them. And so I became very agitated. I called Apple support. I had 3 very long conversations, a couple of them resulting in someone calling back. And basically, they had discovered that the night before, someone at around 5 p.m. Backed up my phone after deleting a bunch of things. And so that was very upsetting. And they couldn't get the messages back. Like they basically said, when it's gone, it's gone. And I spent the entire day up to the end of business working on it with no resolution, which is frustrating. I just want to verify a couple of the things I've just said. So Sid, is what I'm describing that happened with the text with Garfield accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so I also emailed that evening my therapist to have her verify in writing that that was correct, and that was how she recalled it, and she did so. She said that she did recall me mentioning it, and that I couldn't find them and in writing So I can share that documentation. Okay, you want to hear a wild thing? On
What?
Monday, or I guess Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember. Sid and I were using his computer and his login and using webmail to pull up an email receipt that he needed because my phone wasn't working and I was afraid to turn it on. And while we were in my email on his computer and in his browser, forwarding him the receipt, somebody was in my iCloud, even though my phone was off, they were in my iCloud, and they deleted our wedding anniversary from the calendar. And he got a notification.
Yours and Sid's?
Uh-huh. And he got a notification that our wedding anniversary had been deleted. I am, on Sid's computer, in Sid's login, on a web browser, accessing my email to access this Canon printer receipt. And Sid is right here, and no one is on my phone, my physical phone, right? We could both physically see it. It was in the room and not on. And we get an alert on the screen that I have canceled our wedding vow day anniversary via the iCal calendar. Now, obviously, I had not done that. We're all here. I hadn't done that. And so that was upsetting. So I took a screenshot of it. And then I clicked on it and went to the calendar. And sure enough, there was in the calendar as well. This to me seems extremely personal because there's lots of things on my calendar, mostly like medical appointments and support group meetings and things like that. Somebody had to go months into the future, into July, to find this event and cancel it. So that seemed to me to be extremely petty and mean. And I don't know why someone would do something like that, besides just like sadism. Am I remembering everything correctly? Yes. Okay, is there anything I left out?
No, that's accurate.
Okay. So I'm trying to kind of go through everything that has happened during this like escalating harassment that has been going on, because it's so harmful to everyone. Anyway, yeah, so my therapist actually did call me after the email exchange to make sure I was okay, because obviously this is a massive violation of my privacy, as well as the privacy of every person who's ever messaged me or that I've ever messaged ever. And I'll just, without getting into a long discussion of the trauma that's caused by this ongoing harassment, I will just say that whomever this person is, their hatred of me is at the point where they're willing to hurt every person who cares about me, even my baby. And so it's my belief that this person is not a safe person. They're not. Anyone willing to perform so much harm is obviously an extremely sadistic person. And as a result, an extremely dangerous person. Yeah. So besides obviously the passwords, changing emails, changing devices. Oh, and that's another thing is like, besides the time which I wasted dealing with customer support that didn't work and all that nonsense, the other big waste was like constantly, whenever a new device would come out, work would be like getting me the new device in the hopes that that one couldn't be hacked. And then I'm wasting days of my life setting up a new device and learning a new device. And it's just, the harassment has gotten to the point that it's just I just can't, I can't have access. People can't have access to me, unfortunately. It's pretty horrid.
He must also be doing stuff to like throw you off that it's him. So he's probably doing random things too. Because then you don't want to just do like the stuff that's specific that it's obviously him. He's got to go in there and probably do like a couple other things that throw you off. So it's not just to confuse you.
Oh, I'm confused.
That's my guess. Like if it's who I think it is, doing something like that, like the wedding anniversary, like deleting yours and Sid's like off the calendar, like that's obviously like somebody like him would have a reason to do it, to be pissed off and to like just to fuck with you.
But also if it was somebody else, what a good way to make it look like it was him.
That's true. If they're trying to frame.
On the screen, you see a search bubble for Google. In the search field are the words, "Is Rochelle Jervis?" and Google guessed the following questions based on the popularity of searching, "Is Rochelle Jervis still alive?" or married.
And there is a lot of random stuff, like messing with my contacts. Like, why do you need to delete things? Like, why are you making it impossible for me to do my job? Like, what's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of making me spend a day or two a week dealing with tech issues, except for that you hate me? Because you can't possibly hate
Yeah,
my,
to make you annoyed, to like
can I say this? Like, you
to make
cannot-
your life harder. To make your life
And it
harder. Because
works.
they probably view their life as hard enough, and I have too
So,
many emails.
Here's my question. Is spending 2 years harassing someone and trying to ruin their life a crime?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
And
accessing. Well, they actually, the damages are what's going to be interesting, because they haven't had any. You don't have financial damages.
I couldn't
right?
even do my job. So certainly my employer.
Well, no, like they haven't stolen money. Like, I mean, yeah, they have in that way stolen your time, stolen your like mental health, like your
Mental health,
sanity, but
my
like,
sanity.
yeah, that's like that stuff. But it hasn't.
If
But
I
it's
was
still
my
a crime. Yeah.
And I also just want to say, and I don't, this is at the risk of sounding paranoid, but I think if you could appreciate all of the harm that has occurred over the last couple of years as a result of ongoing issues with this, in my personal and professional life, it would may seem a little less paranoid, but I just feel like I need to say that if something happens to me, I did not harm myself. I will not harm myself. And I would never attempt to unalive myself as a result of this. I feel like I need to say that because the stress of this has created a mental health crisis for me, and this person seems dangerous and sadistic and willing to hurt anyone that is in contact with me. And so yeah, so I just need to say that if something happens to me, it wasn't me, is all I'm saying. Okay, so now that sounds nice and paranoid. But yeah, that's what I want to say about that. Anything else, Sydney?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, baby, we're gonna do monkeys. Are you ready?
Ow. Ow.
Not up, up, up. We're gonna do monkeys. Do you remember monkeys? Okay, we try to get us on camera. Are you ready? Maybe I think we should come up here. Come here, baby. Come here. Let's do monkeys. Let's do monkeys. Come here. Come here. All right, you ready? You ready? 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 4 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 2 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." One little monkey jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." Yeah. I love you, baby.
In the United States, you can call or text the Suicide Crisis Hotline at 988. Again, that is 988.